Gen friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the CHANAKYA Dialogues English. Pakistani government is doing surgical strikes on the Pakistani people. The Pakistani government is doing balakot on its own people. And every 15 days, they beat the life out. America does not know how to deal with the East. They have one template which they use across the world. They have one for their friends and one for their enemies. And there is no changing template of the United States of America. Gen friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the CHANAKYA Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Canada was supposed to send a trade delegation to India in the month of October, which has now been deferred. And as per media reports, the reason is that Justin Trudeau is in a major sulk. He's sulking. He's sulking because apparently Prime Minister Narendra Modi made a mincemeat out of Justin Trudeau and asked him, why in God's name are you supporting Khalistani terrorists? Why should you support Khalistani terrorists? Those people who are calling for secession from India, those guys who are drug dealers, and Khalistanis who are terrorists, who are targeting Indian diplomats, threatening Indian diplomats with physical harm, why would the Prime Minister of so-called democratic Canada, just support such people? It's as good as supporting Al-Qaeda. Yeah? That's what I don't understand about Justin Trudeau. This is like supporting Al-Qaeda. These are not Prime Minister Modi's words. These are my words. But the other things, Prime Minister Modi did say that these Khalistanis are this and that. Why should you do that? So Justin Trudeau is sulking and Justin Trudeau said, no. And I'm not going to send the trade delegation, so here it is. So during their talks on September 10th, Prime Minister Modi conveyed Delhi's strong concerns about continuing anti-India activities of extremist elements in Canada, which is essentially Khalistanis. There are only one kind of extremist elements in Canada, those are Khalistanis. And so Canada said that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, has decided to postpone the Canadian trade mission. The Canadian trade mission to India, which was supposed to come in the month of October, stands postponed now. Honestly, we don't give a damn. Let's be honest about it. We do not give a damn. Canada is a small, teeny-weeny economy in front of India. And here is a small quiz that I'd like to ask today, and I'd like our viewers to answer in the comment section. Okay. What is India's GDP and what is Canada's GDP? That is question number one. Give a comparison of Indian GDP and Canadian GDP. Question number two. What are India's forex reserves and what are Canada's forex reserves? I think this should suffice. Two questions will clear the air. Any Khalistani who thinks that Canada is the cat's whiskers, forget it. Forget it, dear Khalistanis. Just forget it. India is far, far bigger country, much richer than Canada. We have more money. We have more diplomatic heft. And if Justin Trudeau thinks that some random white guy can come to India and start lecturing, sorry. We kicked him and we sent him out. You go and play with the Khalistanis there. You're not welcome in India, neither is your delegation. And now that you have delayed the delegation, I would like to warn the Canadian government. You have decided not to send the delegation. Please do not send the delegation to India in future. Please do not send the delegation to India in future. Have self-respect, have pride. Don't be wimps. Don't be sissies. Don't start crawling on your hands and knees, coming and begging India for trade tomorrow. All right, Canada? Be proud. Be proud. Moose wrestling, bear wrestling Canadians. Don't send your trade delegation ever to India. We don't need you. All right. The second news is that India's purchase of 45,000 crore defense items, which is roughly, ladies and gentlemen, around 5.5 billion, give or take. 5.5 billion US dollars. And this is going to get us new fighter planes, missiles, light armored multipurpose vehicles, integrated surveillance and targeting systems, and survey ships to modernize armed forces, especially the Indian Navy. Now, why do we need these? Obviously, the Pakistanis are saying that this is against Pakistan. Pakistan is a joke. We are not buying any weapons for Pakistan. Pakistan has tanks, but Pakistan has no diesel to put in the tanks. So those tanks can't reach the border. How will they fight? What are they going to do? Start firing in Lahore itself? Right? Pakistan has planes. They have the JF Thunder. They have the F-16s, but the planes can't take off because there is no fuel. There is absolutely no fuel in Pakistan, which is the later news actually today. But the fact of the matter is this is mostly for China. and India is modernizing its armed forces. But Here's the caveat. There is a but in this. This 45,000 crore order, this big, massive $5.5 billion US order has a very big but. And that but, that hook is put by the Indian government. They say that everything has to be Make in India, under the Make in India program. It has to be made in India. It has to be made under the aegis of the Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme. That's how it functions. And that's what it's going to be. Now, in the next news, ladies and gentlemen, exciting news ahead. We have a record smashed. I said that the Pakistani forces don't have fuel for their fighter jets. They don't have fuel for their tanks and the army vehicles and all that. They don't even have food for their soldiers, but that's another story. Now, record smashed as petrol diesel rise to 330 rupees per litre. And this is from Dawn News, Pakistan's premier newspaper. And this says the caretaker government on Friday night increased the price of petrol and high-speed diesel by 26.02 rupees and 17.34 rupees per litre. These are Pakistani rupees, right, which is anyway junk currency. But they increased the rate of diesel per litre by 26.02 and the rate of petrol by 17.34. So this goes to over 330 rupees per litre for both diesel and petrol, a psychological barrier that has been crossed for the first time in the country's history. So this barrier had never been crossed in the country's history, but now, it has been. And the Pakistanis, I don't know what I don't know how the Pakistanis are going to get from place A to place B. The rich will. For the rich, it doesn't matter if it becomes 1,000 rupees a litre, but for the poor, they're gone. They're absolutely gone. This says that, now there is a little bit of history to it, ladies and gentlemen, and the history you got to understand. So earlier, 3 weeks back, they had increased it, or the rate of diesel. So we're talking about diesel first. Now this is the latest increase. Now this increase of 26.02 rupees is the latest increase as of last night. But before this, 3 weeks back, they had increased it by 32.41 rupees. Diesel and petrol by 38.49. Just imagine. So the combined increase now works out to 58.43 and 55.83. See, all these figures don't mean anything. Okay? All these 58, 54, 53, these are number of rupees by which they've jacked up the price. What is happening in Pakistan is, ladies and gentlemen, every 15 days, the government, earlier India did a balakot on Pakistan. Earlier India did surgical strikes on Pakistan. Now the Pakistani government is doing surgical strikes on the Pakistani people. The Pakistani government is doing balakot on its own people. And every 15 days, they beat the life out of their own people. That's what the Pakistani government is doing now. Petrol and diesel, they actually, everything goes up because goods move by, they move by land transport mostly. Because Pakistan's rail network is horrible. It's among the worst rail experiences in the world. Pakistan has not invested in anything in trains. So, essentially what is happening here is things move by road, which means they move by trucks. And everything becomes that much more expensive. That much more. It just gets added. So, if you're buying potatoes, let's say for 100 rupees a kg in Pakistan, they will automatically become 120 rupees. I'm just giving an example. I don't know how much potatoes cost in Pakistan. Who cares? I know you don't care how much potatoes cost in Pakistan, but I'm just giving an example. Trying to make an academic case out of it. Now, Pakistan is again in the limelight and Pakistan has done itself proud. We discussed this news before. Birmingham, Europe's largest local authority and the second largest city in UK, I'm told. Now, this is Europe's largest local authority, Birmingham, and England's second largest city after London. It is broke. This we discussed a week back. This news is old, ladies and gentlemen, but here is the interesting part. So the Birmingham City Council, the BCC, says in its report that the liability is Pakistani origin citizens. There are some Bangladeshis, but a vast majority of them are Pakistanis. They have kids. Every house has dozens of kids roaming around. In fact, I'm surprised how parents even remember the name of their kids because there are so many of them floating around. And all of them British citizens. And none of them wanting to work. I'm talking about the parents. Not the kids, I'm talking about the parents. Parents don't want to work. And they're saying that the report says, listen to this very carefully, it's a joke. You may laugh when I tell the joke. The report says that more than half of the city's population is from an ethnic minority. Ha, ha, ha. Half of the city, if a population is more than half, look at this. The population of Pakistani Muslims in Birmingham, they say, is more than half, including some Bangladeshis, together. It is more than half, more than 50%, and yet they are an ethnic minority. Look at this. And they want all the privilege of minorities, and they are more than 50%. I'm not saying this. The report says that more than half of city's population is from an ethnic minority. Birmingham has the highest concentration of Pakistani origin people among all US cities. Birmingham, UK's second largest city, now says that it does not have the resources to balance its budget. And what it has done is, it was forced to take the humiliating step. I'm reading out from here, please. It is forced to take the humiliating step of issuing a Section 114 notice. What does it mean? It means that all new spending to be halted immediately, with the exception of protecting vulnerable people and statutory services like water, etc. Water, electricity, blah, blah. All spending stopped. And it has the largest population of Pakistanis. So congratulations, Pakistan. Pakistanis are God's revenge for the colonial experience, I think. What has happened is that there are so many people from India also who go, but they are contributing members. I've generally seen among Indians, irrespective of their religion. And there are Indians who are Hindus, who are Muslims, who are Sikhs, who are Christians, who are Buddhists, who are Jains, who are Parsis, everybody. They go abroad, they settle down, and they are contributors in society. They are people who actually contribute to the economy. They integrate. They have British friends. Pakistanis no. All they want to do is go to UK and create another Lahore. That is their aim. A colder version of Lahore. A Lahore where there is snow. That is what Birmingham is. All Lahoris there, they've settled down there. They don't speak the language. They don't eat the food. They don't wear the clothes. They don't imbibe the culture. They're not educated. Their education levels are really low. And I'm reading from this report. This is a crazy, amazing report. Their education level, skill sets and handouts to them have affected the council's balance sheets. These Pakistanis, now not working, they demand unemployment dole, and they've taken so much of money from the system, they've demanded so much of money from Birmingham City Council that Birmingham has collapsed. The second largest city in UK is gone, is bankrupt. They're saying we don't have money. And the centre, the centre, that is London, the government, the central government has said, we're not going to give you funds. It's your business. You overspend. Why do you have unproductive citizens? Why do you have Pakistanis? It's your fault. But London, you're not far away. The Pakistanis will get you too. Okay? In the last news of the day, US, UK and Canada have issued sanctions upon Iran. They have said that Iran will again have a multiple round of new sanctions ahead of Mahsa Amini's death anniversary. So Mahsa Amini was the girl, the young girl, Iranian girl, Kurdish Iranian, who was caught by the police. I think it's called the Virtue Police or something like that, some funny name they have in Iran. They were caught by the police. She was not wearing a hijab and she was tortured to death. The police said that she just died, and we don't know how she died, but the fact of the matter is she was beaten and tortured to death, and she died in police custody, and there was a storm in Iran. I mean, so many people died, and there were so many protests, and people were really, really angry with these crazy ayatollahs in Iran and these crazy mullahs in Iran. Everybody hates them. Even the Iranians hate them. And the women came out and the men came out and they said, throw these guys out, and these people are vermin. Throw them out, just throw them out. They're furious with the Iranian clergy. Now, what has happened is that, UK, Canada and US have said that a new round of sanctions. It does not matter to Iran actually. What happens is that the more you sanction Iran, the more you are giving their ayatollahs, more you are giving their Maulvis and Maulanas, the religious clergy who rule over Iran, it's ruled by religious clergy, more you give them a hook that, listen, America is the great Satan. The more you tell them that, be united. This happens, and this is, I don't know, because my exposure to the West is limited. I've been to the West, but my exposure to the West is limited. Therefore, I'm saying that in the East at least, in our part of the world, when an outside force threatens a nation, the nation comes together. I'm sure it's there for the US and UK also. I'm sure it is. I'm very sure, because that is what we saw after 9/11. But in Iran, every time Iran is threatened, you're giving the Iranian clergy, those mad mullahs of Iran, you're giving them the opportunity to tell the people who are already sick of them, to tell them that, listen, America is coming after you. Look what they've done. A fresh round of sanctions. They don't want us to survive. They want to break us. They don't have the guts to come and attack us directly, because, we are developing nuclear weapons and we may have a nuclear weapon. We may. It's always may. So this is what these people say. And they'll again try their best to unite the Iranian people. And I think America does not know how to deal with the East. They have one template which they use across the world. They have one for their friends and one for their enemies. And there is no changing template of the United States of America. They don't know how to read the tea leaves, as so to say. All right. So with this, we come to the end of this video, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata ki Jai.